What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, ESPN personality Stephen A. Smith is still harping about running for president. All right? 1 minute he's talking about being a talk show host replacing Jimmy Fallon, and then the next minute he's talking about being the president. 1 minute he wants to be Johnny Carson, the next minute he wants to be Barack Obama Jr., whatever. So, this is what he had to say. You know how he talks. On whether he wants to run for a political office in the future. Listen to this. Fuck word salad. Listen to this goddamn word vegetable garden. No. You know why? Because I got to run for election. It's not the job. It's the campaign. I'm confident. Listen, you might call me crazy. I am not trying to proclaim I'm some aficionado that knows it all. Hell, I wouldn't even know how to pronounce most of their damn names until you taught me, for crying out loud. I talk about elected officials across the world. But what I'm saying to you is that my heart will be in the right place. Now, you just said that you wouldn't run, right? Because of the campaigning. But then you're saying that you want to be president. I'm saying to you that in my heart will be in the right place. I would think about what's good for America, not just a segment of America. I'd have a hell of a staff. I'm talking about the ambassador to the UN, or the ambassador to another country. You're talking about my Treasury Secretary, the head of my education department. I mean, the list goes on and on. National Security, my Defense Secretary. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Because I would find the people that knew and know. I would pick the best and the brightest. Not only that, it wouldn't be partisan. I'll be the one making the decisions, but there would be a potpourri of opinions that are brought together. I want to hear all sides before I make a decision. I'm that kind of guy. I don't want to hear people who are just like-minded and tell me what I want to hear or telling me what side they believe I tilt on. I want it all. And that way I make the best decisions in the interest of America. Well, this is the problem, Stephen A. At one point, both political parties had bigger tents. I didn't say tits, I say tents. There were conservative Democrats, there were moderate Democrats, and there were progressive Democrats. They didn't used to say the word liberal back in the day, they said progressive. To give you an example of a conservative Democrat that ran for president, Alton B. Parker. He was a conservative Democrat. Grover Cleveland was a conservative Democrat who happened to be president. A moderate Democrat, I would say someone who was a moderate Democrat. Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was an example of a moderate Democrat. And that hurt him, because he didn't appeal to either side of the party. Conservative Democrats didn't like his appeal to minorities and his willingness to appease the liberal faction. But the liberals didn't like him because he wasn't one of them and he wasn't a progressive. This led to Ted Kennedy running against him for the nomination in 1980. Carter won, but that weakened him because the party wasn't totally behind him, not to mention the fact that the 1980 Democratic Presidential Convention was a disaster. He called Horatio Humphrey Horatio Hornblower on national television, and then when everything was done and he had won the nomination, they tried to release the balloons and celebrate, and the damn balloons got stuck. Look it up. Not to mention the malaise and the high gas prices and the inflation and the stagflation, and the economy was in the shitter. Plus, we found out that Ronald Reagan, or at least his campaign, but I can't understand how he didn't have any knowledge of it, but the Reagan campaign conspired with the Iranian hostage, or the kidnappers, I guess I should say, they conspired with them so that they wouldn't release the hostages until inauguration day in the event Reagan was elected. An example of a progressive Democrat would be Franklin Roosevelt, Lyndon Johnson, Barack Obama, but he was progressive with everybody except for a certain group. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it sounds good being a moderate Democrat, but it doesn't work today because the parties have become progressively more extreme. The Republicans are so far to the right that it's going to just offend the Democratic Party if you support them. And then the Democrats are so corporatized now and full of former moderate Republicans. They're not really a Republican Party, and they don't really have a progressive wing anymore. And if you run as an independent, which he tends to say, both parties are going to resent you because you're not part of the two-party system. They're not going to work with you at all. I mean, how are you... Look, let's just say Stephen A. Smith, by some miracle of miracles, let's say the Republican candidate got caught on tape saying nigger, and the Democratic candidate got caught on videotape doing something dastardly with a toddler. Okay? At the end of the day, let's just say Stephen A. Smith squeaks by with a plurality and a slim electoral vote majority. Both parties are going to resent the hell out of him. They're not going to work with him. They're not going to work with him. Even if he gets elected, he's probably not going to have anybody that's independent working with him in the House or Senate, right? So they're not going to work with this dude. So it's going to be a disaster. So why vote for him? But we know it's not going to happen anyway because he's Stephen A. fucking Smith. He can't even be a successful talk show host. The only way it's going to work is if he does what he does best. And that's go behind the scenes and grovel and cry and acquiesce to both parties and sell out everybody that he sold a dream to in the campaign. He was going to be different and he's going to be bold. And he's not, because he's going to be what he says he is. A person that's going to think of his bosses first and how he can get a little bit himself. So he's going to sell everybody out that voted for his ass. And we're going to be like, we told you, why are you voting any goddamn way? So, anyway, that's all I think about it. Tell me what you guys think.